Engineer Richeal Ijeoma is an educationist, author, and trainer with extensive academic and professional background in electric engineering. He holds an HND, PGD, BSc, and MTech from top Nigerian institution and is currently pursuing a PhD in electrical engineering at River State University. A current registered engineer, is also a member of the NSE, NATE, and IENG. Engineer Ijeoma has vast industrial experience, attended numerous renewable energy and power systems training, and published widely, including a rural electrification textbook. He currently lectures at Captain Elisha Amade Polytechnic in Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijeoma, you have about 10 minutes for your presentation. The floor is yours. Thank you so much.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I want to sincerely appreciate the Green Energy Initiative for this opportunity. I will speak to us on transformative energy practice and innovation, a pathway towards global energy equity. Now, first of all, before we discuss about this, let's bring our mind to how do we talk about green energy and how do we talk about renewable energy. Let's draw back to our normal conventional way of energy generation, which we have the conventional way, which we also have the non-conventional way. So which the non-conventional way happens to be the renewable energy. So while the conventional way happens to be the use of fossil fuel, which is mostly thermal systems. Now, for recent time, we have seen the impact on our environment, both in our health, in the use of fossil fuel. So that's why everybody in the world is now rushing out to leave the use of normal conventional energy and move to the non-conventional energy, which is the use of green energies. Let's come back. Let's start, we'll say electrical energy is a basic necessity for economic development of a country due to its importance and due to human life occupies a top place in the energy hierarchy. Now, without energy in the world, you will see that the world remains in a place. So any country that do not have energy up to at least a good percentage, you will see that the development will be very slow, crawling like a snail, not like we have in our dear country, Nigeria, that we have just a little supply that we have. Now let's go to the key things we're looking at to look at in this paper that we're focusing on, which is a decentralized energy system. And we're looking at renewable energy technologies, energy efficient practice, and inclusive policies. You can move the slide more. Now let's talk about decentralized system. If you are talking about decentralized system, you'll be looking at how we move away from just a central system of using just a grid network. Now, using just a grid network have caused a lot of harm to our country, Nigeria, because of, if you watch last year, we have over 12 to 13 times grid collapse because of one technical issue or the other. Well, when we have a good decentralized system, you will understand with me that you can actually, in each state or each community or each rural community have your own energy that can come in different ways that you can be able to generate. Now, let's talk about how we can do this. Let's talk about mini grids. We say mini grids are electricity network that operate independently, which we also see and refer to as off-grid. So the off-grid is when you work completely outside the central grid. Maybe in a small rural community, you can bring up a renewable energy like the use of solar, use of wind, biomass, as the case may be. Now, in a country like us, like in Nigeria, for example, that we are so much blessed with so many resources. In solar, if you go to the northern part of Nigeria, you have almost in every year, you will see that there are more time of sunlight than the time they have a downtime. So even in wind too, even in the northern part, you also see that we have more of that. Biomass is all over, everywhere in Nigeria. But it's unfortunate that we are not minimizing that. I'll use a case study on this issue of mini grid. Like in Tanzania, mini grids powered solar energy that have transformed rural communities by providing electricity for lighting, refrigerators, and small businesses, and that have reduced reliance on expensive polluting diesel generators. So just like immediately there is no light, you see people on generators and all that. So, but in Tanzania, with their renewable energy system that they have tried to bring up, you will notice that it have also helped them to also reduce the issue of polluting the environment. Let's look at energy cooperative. It's an energy cooperative. We're looking at different ways that we can be able to minimize this if being giving policies nod for them to take place. So community energy cooperative enables residents to collectively manage and benefit from local energy resources. Like in Germany and Denmark, energy cooperatives empowers communities by providing shares of revenue from renewable energy projects. So, for example, in Denmark, so over 60% of wind turbines are owned by local cooperatives. And this is democratized energy ownership, but also ensures the financial benefits that stay within the community. Now, if you understand this, you will see that the energy which they have generated through their own cooperative have increased the community ownership of that energy. And also from there are benefits that accrue to it, just like a normal cooperative that we know. That once a member of a cooperative, whatever dividends that comes from it, we also share from it. So they are also getting profit from it and also helping to power their environment. So, and that have given them a lot of growth with renewable energy. Let's look at the renewable energy technology. Renewable technology. So this is a game changer that provides clean, sustainable, and affordable energy access. This leverage on abundant natural resources like the sunlight, wind, water, and so on. Just like in Nigeria, for example, one of our most reliable systems we have happens to be our water hydro system, which is we have in the Jeba, the Shiruru, and the Kanji. So it's mostly when they have issue is when there are downtimes of water in those areas, which in modern days is no longer in that form. I think even nowadays, you can even in your own community, it can actually be used in a height. You can raise up a tank at a sustainable height, and that can also generate energy in that environment. Let's talk about solar power innovation. So solar power innovation are proving to be one of the most accessible forms of renewable energy due to the modularity and declining cost. Now you see in day-to-day activity, you find out that the whole world, since people are moving already to renewable energy and the use of solar, and I think that should be the cheapest renewable energy. You see a lot of solar kits that have been produced, and it's really giving us a growth in the issue of renewable energy. Companies like M-Kopa in Kenya, East Africa, offered pay-as-you-go solar solutions, enabling households to pay small installments for solar system, making a clean, accessible, and low-income families to be able to access energy and reduce dependence on kerosene, saving money for their household and all that. So, like this M-Kopa, if something of this nature will be brought in a country like ours, like in Nigeria, I know something like that, MTN have something like that, but you will find out with me if you have been able to use it. You see that the power that is being used is very minute, which cannot be able to carry much facilities. So, but the one they have in Kenya can be able to power a complete building, and the families can be able to rely on renewable energy. Let's also look at wind and the micro hydropower system. Why we call it micro is not like the normal turbine system that we use. There are small scale turbines that can be used, and when that is done, it will also help to sustain our system. For example, in Nepal, we have Nepal have a micro hydro project that have empowered irrigation system and small enterprises, boosting local economic, and also in Andes Madi, micro hydro systems provides electricity to isolated communities, powering irrigation farming and enabling sustainable agriculture. Now we are talking about powering our systems and also at the same time, also helping ourselves in agricultural farming. Like during the dry season, you see mostly in the north, where we have more farming season, you will see that there are times they will not even have water. They will be looking for water. But with this, you will see that at the same time you are powering your environment, the rural communities. At the same time, you also use it for irrigation farming, which will also help us to boost our food production. Let's look at energy efficient practice. How do we do our energy to be efficient in the rural community? So improve energy efficiency, reduces consumption and cost, while attending to utility of limited energy resources. This particular crucial to this. First, let's look at efficient cook stove. Like we know in our rural communities, I remember back in the days when we were younger, in the communities who, even as we come out from school, we start rushing to the farm to go and get firewood as our normal way of cooking back then. Even up to now, in our local communities, you see that most people still rely on the use of firewood to cook their food. And now they are trying to improve by using charcoal. And when we look at this, using of all those firewood and charcoal also causes so many environmental air pollution, both indoor environmental pollutions, and millions of people will benefit if we leave this traditional way of doing it. So improved cook stove signifies reduction of fuel consumption and indoor air pollution. For example, in a country like Uganda, these stoves have reduced the firewood consumption by up to 50%, allow women to spend less time gathering fuel and more time of income generating system. Now, but once you have this improved cook stove, you will find out that you will no longer be rushing to the bush to go and look for firewood, and also reducing your pollution in your immediate environment that comes from the burning of steady firewood and all that. Let's also look at green building practice. Green building practice is energy efficient building designs with local materials and passive cooling technique minimizes demand. For example, in Mexico, the Eco Casa initiative provides affordable energy efficient homes for low income families, reducing energy bills and greenhouse gases emission. We all know the impact of greenhouse gases. In fact, it has been said by WHO that greenhouse gases contribute about 33% of the climate change that happened in the world. So by bringing up renewable energy, you will see that the issue of fossil fuel that contribute a lot to greenhouse gases will definitely reduce the pollution of greenhouse gases in our immediate environment. Let's talk about policies. What are the policies that we're looking at that government can do that will help to finance all this? Now, we say government policies and innovative financing mechanism are critical in scaling transformative energy practice. This framework must address unique challenges faced by marginalized communities. Subsidies and incentives. There are so many countries where subsidies are being given to the poor masses so that they can be able to assist in reducing the cost of energy. So government subsidize renewable energy technologies to make them affordable. For instance, in India, what they call Injala scheme, it promotes energy efficient LED bulbs. So thereby they share it to households at a very cheap rate. And when that is done, you surely reduce your cost of energy and the emission that comes from it. Like most people do not even know that the cost of using a single 60-watt bulb is almost the same thing that a solar freezer can be able to carry. Because some solar freezers are 80 watts, some are 60 watts. Just the same thing, like just one bulb. So a lot of persons do not know about that. And they keep on using filament bulbs all over, thereby consuming more energies that is supposed to be meant for other people's use. Let's also look at microfinancing and crowdfunding. In some places, those days will see crowdfunding as something that is like gambling. No, there are so many ways you can do this. They are called microfinancing. Say, for example, we have what we call a Sun Funder, which is a platform to raise capital for solar projects for developing countries like in Africa. So it accelerates a clean energy. So Sun Funder bridges the funding gap between investors with money and solar companies that needs loan. Sometimes you will see that there are persons who have this fund, but maybe they don't know what to do with this money. So if you bring up something like crowdfunding in Nigeria, you will see there are a lot of persons who will want to invest in crowdfunding. And when they invest, definitely you will see that it will increase, it will help reduce that. So this investment I've brought about to make about 71 loans, totaling about 8.something million US dollars, which have provided 23 solar businesses, mainly in East Africa. So, and the people who invested have also will be benefiting from it as time goes on. So in education, just like in India, for example, you see that with their renewable energy, which have transformed their system, you will understand that it have helped them in the schools, that in the night, they can be able to read. Just like in most of our schools, immediately it's night. Students will start carrying candles and all that to look for what to read. But with a renewable energy system, it will definitely help. Both in healthcare facility, you will see that it will help to reduce all these stillbirths and all that. But most times you go to hospital, there is no light and all that. So they won't have energies to do. Now let's go straight to the challenges and the paths way forward because of time. Say funding gaps, that many regions lack the financial resources to invest in renewable energy projects. What is the solution? We say international development banks and private, public-private partnership can provide necessary funding and technical expertise. Now, we also talk about technical barriers. There are a lot of persons who do not know about renewable energy. So we need to train people more on that so that people will also have more ideas on how renewable energy, more especially solar, can be installed and all that. Policy constraint. So inadequate regulatory framework often discourage private investment in renewable energy. Like there are a lot of policies who have limited a lot of investors to invest. So if government will make their policies to be not to be rigid. You will see more investors will come in, which we are looking at government to collaborate with private sector players, NGOs, and also allow local communities to also partake in this. And I believe when this is done, that it will help the world to come out from this issue of to help us to grow in renewable energy. Conclusively, just like we know that normal human being cannot survive without blood, we also know that there is no nation that will ever develop without reliable electricity. So looking at this transformative energy practice and innovation, it will offer a clear pathway to uplift communities worldwide by prioritizing local energy system, adopt renewable, enhance efficiency and inclusive policies. We can create a path of energy access, and to be a privilege, it will no longer be a privilege, but a fundamental human right. So what we are talking about to collaborate, that stakeholders should collaborate with government, NGOs, private companies, and local communities for these critical challenges, and to scale solutions and give us an environmental stewardship for all. And you will have a better place that will be less of greenhouse gases pollutions and all that. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Engineer Ijeoma, for the wonderful presentation. Because of our time, we would move very fast to the last speaker for today.